Number 22. That's now the growing number of zoos that are honored to be featured on this channel. Most of them just don't know it yet. What I have for you today is a place we've yet to see, though if you've been here since the channel's beginning, you know that's a lie. The Fort Wayne Children's Zoo in Indiana. Haven't heard of this place? Well, for those that haven't, I feel sorry for both you and the zoo because it is criminally underrated. Founded in 1965 on originally 5 acres, the park has blossomed into a fine attraction with well-plotted trails that shows you how it can compensate for not having ABC or typical zoo animals like gorillas, elephants, or really any other major pachyderm. Rather, they mostly display smaller, lesser-known, and at times rare animals and spreads them out in areas that could take you hours to go through depending on your taste. This is especially true for their African journey. It's the first exhibit you'd see in real life, but I think the savanna's exposure on this channel needs a bit of a break. So next in line would be the Indonesian Rainforest. Enclosed in just 2.5 acres, this rainforest opened in 3 phases from 1994 to 1996. The 18 habitats range in design from massive meshed cages to the small terrariums to a successful recreation of a stable, humid tropical environment. We'll be doing things just slightly differently with a couple of exceptions. The exhibits will be the focus of today's episode, so there's really not much else for me to say other than past some of the randomized enclosures of the zoo's central area is your ticket to another world. Much like the African region, the Indonesian rainforest does a remarkable job at separating you from all sights and sounds beyond its own barriers. The 1,100 feet worth of trail begins with a Sumatran-style structure where you can briefly learn about life in the Southeast Islands. Just outside the exit is the zoo's newest renovated space and newest animal. It was once a typical cage that held spectacled langurs, but the viewing shelter was expanded, a window was added, and everything inside of it was changed for the clouded leopard, a species I'd much personally like to see. We'll be moving on though because somebody didn't want to show their face, so if you want to learn more about the species, click on the card above. Next up, already shelter awaits in the Dr. Diversity's Rainforest Research Center that takes you out and away from the tropical elements to show you a field researcher's collections. There's a skeletal display of a Sumatran elephant where the explorers sleep, and on the right, shelves stacked with books that cover rainforest creatures and binders filled with notes. Meanwhile, in the mix, there's also terrariums for stick insects, a larger tank in the middle for a northern tree shrill, and for the way it moves, I knew there was just no way I could film this in a professional manner. And then there's 3 more for fire-bellied toads, tentacled snakes, a crocodile skink, and Bornean frogs. On another wall is an even bigger terrarium for the longest snake in the world, the Reticulated Python. Distinguishable by their diamond patterns and massive size. It could weigh up to 440 pounds and grow up to 25 feet and eat animals as large as sheep. Near the middle, there's a standalone tank for a red-tailed rat snake, and even a home for a Komodo dragon that's darkened during the summer because you'd actually have to go to the zoo's central area to see it during warmer weather. So now, let's continue to the main attraction. Actually, not yet. Before you're freely allowed to walk about the rainforest, the path first teases you and then takes you into another room. One that reminds me very much of Cincinnati's own indoor habitat for the same animal. Welcome to the Orangutan Valley. Opened in 1995 as part of Indonesia's Phase 2 project, this habitat has a single path viewing designed specifically to make you feel like you're in the canopy with them. The zoo is home to 4 Sumatran orangutans, meaning person of the forest. The most notable is little Asmara, that was born in 2014, but you'd think she'd look a bit older. A tiny reason why orangutan numbers aren't increasing, other than our interference, is females only give birth every 7 or so years because they're too busy taking care of their current dependent offspring, and have a short span between maturity and elderly age to be able to have as many young as possible. Orangutans are the second largest of the great apes. They only grow to be about 4.5 feet tall, but have long arms that can create a wingspan of over 7 feet. and have strong hands and hand-like feet that can get a good grip on branches and vines to keep them brachiating in the air. So while here they don't have outdoor access, credit still needs to be given because you'll notice in person that the floor is a pool and it keeps them off the ground, exactly how orangutans live in the wild. Unfortunately, it is a rare sight to find in other zoos. And now to the main attraction. Humid, misty, loud, and overshadowing like that of a true jungle, condensed in only 8,000 square feet, making it one of the smallest man-made rainforests that are often highlighted in other parks. Regardless, even in such a small space, the overgrowth is so dense that it's difficult for you just to see the other side. Okay, so it's the heart of the Indonesian rainforest. It's got the looks, it has the sounds, but what exactly are you hearing? Well, unless you're good at identifying birds, like these green-naped pheasant pigeons, and these chestnut-naped imperial pigeons, other than that you really won't know, because nothing but the plants are labeled, at least I think. At first this drove me nuts as a species-less hunter, but on my third visit I didn't care too much. I thought it helped with the element of surprise, and you'll still enjoy the scenery, especially the cave that gives you shelter from the waterfall that hits it on top, and it also frames the forest like you're watching rainfall on a jungle trek. Once you exit the dome, you're about at the halfway mark. There is a plaza where you can take a break, eat, and enjoy the endangered species carousel. From here on out, the rest of the habitats are outdoors. Opened in 1996, the last major phase of the Indonesian rainforest, the Tiger Forest. Home to 2 Sumatran tigers, siblings Indah and Bugara, that debuted in 2013. They are just 2 of 4 or 500 or so of their kind that remain. While of course they can't breed now, the zoo has had success in the past. There are 2 viewing huts, one that's glass and gets you really up close and personal, and then another research hut that proves its educational value with activities and photos that are straight out of zoo books. The Tiger Forest is approximately 7,000 square feet, a little on the small side, but it is still very lush and fits their natural environment pretty well. The last section starts to bring you towards the entrance, but first people usually stop to glare at the snowflake at this particular spot where the forest disperses. You'll notice the path from now on is an elevated boardwalk known as the Treetop Trail, bringing you eye to eye with arboreal animals. Though it's lost a couple of its more outdated enclosures in the last few years, nonetheless, it still starts off big with the zoo's tallest outdoor habitat, stuffed with something to climb on that are always within an arm's reach, and it blends in pretty well with the natural forest. This is home to the rarer Javan gibbon. As of now, the Fort Wayne Children's Zoo is only one of 2 institutions in North America that exhibits them, which is a shame because due to their non-stop activity, I couldn't film them and we have to move on. Not too far down the line, on the opposite side, what once contained Siamang gibbons, you'll now find my personal favorite of this rainforest, the Wrinkled Hornbill. Found in Sumatra and Borneo, they mainly have black plumage, but have varied patterns on their bill and casque that's attached to their skulls. Wrinkled hornbills are monogamous and remain in a pair for life. They are also gender dimorphic. In short, means this is a male and this is a female. So in the bird world, the guy has to look pretty to catch a mate's attention. While that may be a fun fact, what's not so fun is due to heavy deforestation, this hornbill went from being classified as near threatened to endangered as of last year. The rainforest concludes with a couple of cages, one for the Prevost squirrel, and then one for a white-crested laughing thrush. And gentlemen and so few ladies who watch this channel, you survived the trek through the several islands of the Indonesian rainforest. Next time we're here, we will explore that ever so unique and large African journey. Then after that, the Australian adventure, which would basically complete 80% of the zoo. Anyways, remember to vote to determine what zoos will be featured in the future, but please keep it warm with winter rolling around. And I will end this with a quote by Edmund Burke that can be found at the end of the trail. No one made a greater mistake than he who did nothing because he could only do a little. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for watching.